Good morning, everyone. My name is Joles, my ancestral name. My English name is Alec Dan. I come from Musqueam First Nation, located in southwest Vancouver, out by UBC, our most current village that we all, the Musqueam people, reside in. It's an honor for me to be here with you this morning to welcome you to our traditional unceded territory, what we call the Greater Vancouver area. And at one time, we occupied the Greater Vancouver area with at least 30 villages as far as Port Moody, Coquitlam, Surrey, Delta, all the way west to Vancouver and Richmond, Surrey and Delta, and as far as Horseshoe Bay on the North Shore Mountains. And we used those villages for different resources. Some of our people permanently resided in them. And also some of our people went to go and gather the natural resources and the natural foods from what we call Mother Earth and the forest. Also known for stewards of the land and the water, our territory, unceded territory, as far as what we call the Portman Bridge, Coquitlam, Surrey area. And we had at least 10 villages on around what is called the Fraser River today. It's always an honor for me to be the voice for my family, my community, my elders and my elected chief and council, and especially for our ancestors. Because if it wasn't for our elders and our ancestors grasping on to our culture, to our cultural protocols, to our cultural practices, cultural ceremonies, our language, honestly, I wouldn't be here in front of you today in my traditional regalia. We always have that love and respect for our elders and our ancestors. To introduce myself a little bit more, I'm a descendant of a hereditary chief. His name was Similanoch, and he was with us, here with us in the late 1800s, and he ended up residing in what is now called New Westminster, Brunette River area. Sadly, he got pushed out of there. Him and his family and his community got pushed out of that village, pushed across the river to another village, what we call Kikate, which is located right at the south side of what is now called the Patello Bridge. It's always an honor to be the voice for my great. He was my great grandfather on my mother's side. Myself, my mom, her dad, my grandpa, his dad, Jack Stogan, my great grandpa, and then Similanoch. Being, part of our community, we go back at least 5 generations. We get to know our family history. And also to introduce the Musqueam people a little bit more. A few of our villages located here in what is called Vancouver today, just a stone's throw away actually, in what is called Stanley Park. We used to have a village in there called Swaihwai. We know it as Lumberman's Arch today in Stanley Park. We used to go there and harvest the clams and the shellfish from that area. Another village called IAYMH. We used to go there, and we know it as Jericho Beach, Lorcano Beach, Spanish Banks. We used to go there and harvest the plants and the berries to make our traditional medicines and herbal teas to heal our body. Another village called, I forgot. Sanok. We know it as Vanier Park and Museum of Vancouver planetarium. We used to go there and fish and harvest the sturgeon and the oologans and the herring from that area. And we also used to, prepare that seafood right there in that location so we could have food during the fall and winter months and early spring months. It's always an honor, to be the voice to further introduce myself and our community. When we hear visitors coming into our territory, we used to come together as a whole community from the youngest to the oldest and meet and greet our visitors at the mouth of our river, the Fraser River, what it's called today. Come together to welcome our visitors because we shared the natural resources that's in our unceded territory. Friends and family from what is now called Vancouver Island, Victoria, up to Nanaimo. Friends and family from upriver, Stolo Nation, the Stolo people up that way, Chilliwack, Agassiz, and everywhere in between. Our friends and family from down south, just past that imaginary international borderline, just recent to us, but we have family connections and Coast Salish people down that way as far as Everett, Seattle, Washington. So it gives you a general idea of how large the traditional Coast Salish territory is, and Musqueam and this area, just a little, portion of that. Always an honor to be the voice for my family and community, my elders and ancestors. That's why it's always an honor, because we used to come together as a whole community from the youngest to the oldest. So to go along with these words of welcome and to start your conference off in such a wonderful, good way, I thank each and every one of you for coming together, being there for the communities that where you're from. I was informed this is international, global conference that's going to be happening here. Really thank you for coming together and making sure that those resources are there for our youth, our communities. To go along with these words of welcome, I want to share our welcome song, Musqueam Welcome Song. And there's words in our language in that song. And the words translate to welcome respected ones. So with that, I'll share our welcome song at this time. Haichkasiyam. So once again, on behalf of the Musqueam people, our friends and relatives from Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Tawasin, Coquitlam nations, all descendants of Musqueam ancestors, we all have that family ties, tree ties to Musqueam ancestors. It's always an honor for me to be the voice for the nations, the first Indigenous people of this area, to welcome, to start conferences off in a wonderful, good way, to welcome you here to our traditional unceded territory. Enjoy your time here and safe travels back home to your family and loved ones. Thank you once again. Haichka siyam. Haichka.
Many thanks, Elder Dan. I may pronounce this incorrectly, but Holes, many thanks for opening this event for us and you being here to officially welcome everybody to this conference. It makes it very special for us, and we do appreciate that you took the time to be with us this morning and to give us some understanding of your traditions and the land that we are on today. We also, before the conference began, I was admiring the drum that Elder Dan had, and I was reminding him that in Ireland we have an instrument called the bowron that looks very, very similar and is used also in music making. So it's interesting that there are often traditions that are global, and we are a global community. But I would like to acknowledge again, many thanks for you being here with us. So I'm going to start off again, if I may. Welcome to Vancouver. We are here in the shared unceded ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We respect the land and honour this tradition of land acknowledgement that dates back centuries for Indigenous people. We want to thank those Indigenous people who still live on and care for these lands. So, my name is Barbara Dooley. I'm the current president of IAYMH. This is why we are all here. But a little bit of, I won't give you a history of myself, but I've been working in the area of youth mental health for nearly, just actually over 20 years now. First began working with Tony Bates in Headstrong at the time, which is now Jigsaw in Ireland. Tony was our founding director. And back then, 20 years ago, we could see that there was a real need for both the services that we need to provide for young people, but also to conduct research. So we're here as a community, not only of researchers, but we are a community of researchers, we're a community of practitioners, but most importantly, and number one, when everything that most of the people that are working in this room is young people, that they are the most important part of all of this. They are core to what we do. And certainly in Jigsaw, there is the saying, nothing about us without us. So young people are critical to creating, hopefully, solutions. And I do think we are here gathered over the next number of days to think about where we are, what we can do. So I am really excited to be here for the 7th. This is our 7th international conference, and our theme is Turning the Tide, Creating a Global Footprint for Prevention and Integrated Care for Youth Mental Health. This conference is particularly timely following the Lancet Psychiatry Commission on Youth Mental Health, which was published in September last year. And that was led out by the commissioning editor, Professor Pat McGarry, who everyone will know of. He is pretty well our global leader in pushing the boundaries for creating better care for young people with mental health difficulties. He had a youth co-commissioner, again living that piece of young people being involved, Naeem Dalal and from Zambia, and 3 co-editors, 2 of whom are with us today, Professor Vivien Glencross from Canada, University of McGill, and Professor Owen Kalaki in Origin, and the 3rd co-commissioner was Dr. Christina Meyer in Origin, Australia. But Pat, Vivien and Owen have been core people to this conference, as well as our programme committee, our organising committee, our Jack.org, and particularly our co-sponsor of this particular conference. But I think the reason I'm talking about this is that piece of work was a seminal look at looking back and looking forward about the landscape of youth mental health today. It brought together 54 experts from across the globe and looking at the evidence-based that what do we know now, not only from high-income countries but low and middle-income countries, and we know that there is a critical need to have better understanding across all of these different types of areas across the globe. And the report identified the accumulating research evidence that indicates that in many countries the mental health of emerging adults has been steadily declining, and that unfortunately is a reality, and it's something that we need to really, there is an urgency about the work that we do. And a lot of this has been exacerbated by COVID-19, the pandemic, which although is no longer with us, the effects of it are. So, and also there are other drivers. So there's a series of mega trends which are warning signs, such as there's a major long-lasting societal changes, such as environmental, social, economic, political and technological, all of which are driving, in many cases, this increase that we're seeing in the mental health of our young people today. On changes in society, another driver, and in the past 2 decades, these changes have harmed the mental health of our young people and increased mental health among them. So although COVID-19 is no longer a pandemic, we can't ignore the pandemic and the impact it has had on young people. It has had a significant impact in regard to impacting on emotional well-being, social development, and for many, academic progress. And we know people who work in schools often see that there was a reluctance for some to return to school. There was an anxiety associated with that, and yet the importance of connecting with peers. And it was trying to make sure that connection is maintained and not lost, and working on making sure that those types of human connections are fostered. So this limited face-to-face interaction, which, as we know, are crucial for development, has had an impact on not only teenagers but also young people as they moved out of teenagers into the emerging adult phase of their lives. COVID has also had a damaging effect on health systems, impacting an already fractured system of care affecting young people. But the theme, turning the tide, Irish people and THs, is very apt within the context of the Commission report, highlighting the alarming increase in youth mental health issues globally and identifying those megatrends. We are now in Vancouver, 6 months after the report was published, to share what we know about youth mental health. What types of services and interventions are promising in turning the tide? What solutions are scalable, adaptable to different cultures and contexts? So we are a huge, there is a slide, is there a slide from the back? Yes, okay. So look at this. So this, I thought would be really useful for us just to start. Give us some context where we are. So this over here, all of the abstracts that we have received, we have 618 oral presentations, 112 posters, 70 tabletops, 64 symposia speakers, and 61 lightning speakers. So look, this just shows you the scale of potential learning we have in the room over the next 3 days. We're here from 48 countries, which I think is phenomenal. We have, this gives you some breakdown, and I think what's very important, we have quite a number of student submissions, and also that 29% of delegates are under 30. So that shows you that the importance of the voice of young people in this particular conference. And I think we have, as of yesterday, 944 delegates, as I said, drawn from across the globe. And we are here to listen, to share, and to leave what I believe is the mantra, we must do better for young people. And we need to think about how we do that better at a global level. So IAYMH strength is its global footprint. No one geographic area has the answers, and we need to be open to all possibilities. When I looked at the number of delegates, which is 944, I asked Ronan, who is our professional conference organizer who works with us, and he advised me yesterday, and this is a go shout out for the Canadians, 500 of our delegates are from Canada. So well done, Canada, for being really out here. So, despite the challenges we are facing globally, which are evident every time often we engage with social media, go online, there's a lot of negative news. But why would over 900 people come to Vancouver from different parts of the globe unless we believe that we can make a difference? That's what we do matters and can influence policy and get governments to listen to what we have to say and why what we do is important. There is recognition globally that mental health of young people is critical to address, and more importantly, we need to make the case to invest in services to support our young people. I have no doubt that every one of you will leave having learned something new that you can take back to your research, your practice, your organisation, your government, pushing and turning this tide to improve the mental health of all young people. To those of you who are lucky enough to be young, I encourage you to really engage while we gather here in Vancouver. Challenge the status quo and propose the art of the possible. How can we do better? Everyone's voice matters, and let's respect one another. Youth mental health is everybody's business. Also, have fun over the next few days, make new connections, and together we can make a difference. So I thank you, and I'm just very delighted to be here. And I would now like to welcome Vivien Glencross to speak to you. And we have been delighted to work with Vivien, who is the CEO of Jack.org, who is our conference partner and has helped to get us here to Vancouver. And I'd love to welcome her. And it's been a pleasure. I met Vivien in person for the first time yesterday, although we've had many interactions online with little boxes this size. And I met loads of other people, and we're all trying to figure out, do I know that person? Because the last time I saw you were kind of a 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch box on a laptop. So anyway, Vivien, please come, and we were delighted to hear and share with you the opening this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Barbara. As Barbara said, I'm Vivien Glencross, and I'm Jack.org's President and CEO. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you today. And Barbara, thank you so much for the kind words. I wish I could take all the credit, but it takes a team to get everything done. And we do have our Jack.org team, so thank you all for all of the great work that we've all done. Over the past year, I have had the honor and privilege to work with all of our friends at the International Association of Youth Mental Health, not just Barbara, but certainly Owen and a number of other members of the team. And we've been absolutely privileged to have the opportunity to host this gathering in beautiful Vancouver. It seems like the sun was shining on us for quite a few days. It is a little overcast today, but that's okay. It is still absolutely gorgeous here. I want to extend my sincere thanks to the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations for inviting us to be here to learn, build connections on their unceded ancestral lands. To all of you joining us from around the world, welcome. Researchers, advocates, leaders, and most importantly, as Barbara said, young people, all driving change in youth mental health. At Jack.org, I have the privilege every day of witnessing the transformative power of young people. I know that by centering your voices in the conversation, we will build solutions that last. It is my hope that this gathering will be a call to action, a chance for all of us to unite our efforts and push for solutions that will end the youth mental health emergency we're dealing with globally. Right now, youth mental health is at a breaking point. Rates of anxiety, depression, and distress are rising amongst young people. Most mental health struggles begin during adolescence and early adulthood. In Canada, over half of young people who need mental health support do not receive it. Young people are not getting the support that they need, a trend that holds true across the world. That is why we need action. I am thrilled that this conference will focus on prevention strategies and early interventions. We cannot wait until crisis hits. To end the youth mental health emergency, we need to make sure young people receive support early, as soon as they start to struggle. This is why we're here, to build solutions, to learn from one another, break down barriers, and ensure that every young person gets the support they need, regardless of who they are or where they come from. At jack.org, we work to make that happen. We equip young people with knowledge, skills, and resources to understand mental health challenges and seek support before they escalate. We know mental health literacy and connection to a supportive community are critical to ending this crisis. Through our programs, Jack Talks, Jack Chapters, and Be There Certificate, we partner with young people in every province and territory to deliver peer-to-peer education and support. I am so proud to say that young people that have been through our programs leave with a better sense of mental health is, where to seek support, and how to support a peer who may be struggling. We've reached over 1 million young people with this critical education. But we know we need to do more to reach the many young people who are still missing education and support that could change or save a life. At jack.org, we realized a long time ago that young people need to be partners in building programs and interventions that work for them. That's why we jumped at the opportunity to partner with the IAYMH to co-host this conference, because we know that real change will come when we work together. Over the next 2 days, you'll hear from leading experts, advocates, and of course, youth change makers on the front lines. You'll gain insights into interventions, community programs, and bold ideas for change. But most importantly, I hope you each leave with a renewed sense of purpose, of the change we need to make, and the community that is working in lockstep with you to make it happen. Now, it's my distinct honor to welcome our 2 incredible youth co-conveners, Easy Nana and Jazz Elliott, to the stage. Both have worked tirelessly to bring this conference together and to ensure that young people's perspectives are represented authentically throughout. It's been a privilege to see these 2 in action, leading, collaborating, and making this gathering truly reflective of the voices that matter the most. I want to repeat, as Barbara said, learn a lot, talk to each other, and most of all, have fun. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Easy and Jazz. Thank you so much.
Welcome, everyone. Bonjour à tous. I had to say it in both language because Canada is a bilingual country. J'espère que vous allez bien. I mean, do I have some francophone in the room? No, more noise if you're francophone or if you know how to speak French. Okay, so see, we're bilingual country. So welcome to Vancouver. My name is Ezekiel. I used to work with Jack.org for almost 5-6 years. I consider myself an alumni. If this program ever comes and becomes something, I would be an alumni of the program. I have my youth co-convener here, Jazz. I'll let you start.
Hi everyone, my name is Jazz. I use she, her pronouns. I also come from stolen land in so-called Australia, on the land of the Dja Dja Wurrung people in regional Victoria. I come to this conference with a bit of an eclectic set of experiences in youth mental health, which all started when my life was profoundly changed through my experience of mental illness as a young person. I started off advocating, trying to translate my frustration into action. I worked in peer support, and now I'm training to be a psychiatrist. So a bit of a mismatched journey, but that's, I think, why IAYMH is so exciting. It's not just a conference, it's a global movement for youth mental health. We come from so many different backgrounds, sometimes wearing multiple hats ourselves, all coming together to talk about, to share our own experiences and most importantly, to connect with the idea of making change back home and across the world. As you've heard, there's 30% of the attendees almost are young people, and that is a phenomenal number. It means that young people are feeling that this is a space that they can come and share and be a part of. We have young people with such a diversity of experiences. We've got people who founded their own organisations, peer workers, peer researchers, early career researchers, advocates, and young people with lived experience. That's enough to be in this space. I wanted to flag that, I guess, for most of us young people, the reason we're here is because of our lived experience as young people. And yes, everyone has lived experience of being a young person. It's all a stage of our lives. But we have an experience of what it's like to be a young person in 2025, where the world is a scary place. There's so much going on, so much that's going on, and that we've endured in a way that I think has been unprecedented. It's a word that we've heard so many times over the last few years, but I think it's so relevant. I was very unhelpfully reminded on my phone Photos app that this is an anniversary of a time where I was having a really tough time. I was in hospital and I was feeling quite isolated and alone. And for a long time I felt quite alone. I thought, oh, is it just me? Is that why I'm having a hard time experiencing mental illness, a hard time seeking services? Is it my fault that I'm not getting better fast enough? But I think the fact that we've got 1,000 people who've come from all across the world means that none of us are alone. We all know that youth mental health, service provision, and the experiences that young people have aren't good enough. And that's why we've come here. And I think that's really, really exciting. And I'd invite all of you to lean into the connection that this conference offers, to speak to people who you wouldn't usually speak to, break outside of that comfortable bubble of the people that you know from your country. Speak to the young people who've come to this conference. We've made a couple of, I guess, bridges to the gap that's experienced with our human bingo and Little Talk to Me About stickers. The human bingo is pretty exciting because that comes with the chance to win free conference registration for the next IAYMH, so definitely get around that. It's not the first person, it's going to be a draw, so make your way through the conference. By Thursday afternoon, if you're finished, you're in the draw to win free rego for the next conference, so that's pretty exciting. And then the Talk to Me About stickers are little stickers that you can put on your clothes or your name badge. It's just something that you can connect to other people with. For me, it might be my cats, cooking, whatever small or large you feel like you could connect with other attendees. I'd encourage you to go to the registration desk and pick up a sticker to put on your clothes and pick up a human bingo card so you can get amongst the community vibe at IAYMH. I think that's pretty much all for me. I'll hand over to Easy.
Hi, thank you, Jazz, for sharing. She said a lot. I just want to thank Jazz because she did a lot of work, especially being in Australia while we were working on different time zones. I'll talk a little bit of myself in a minute, but Jazz did a great job, not only helping organize all of this, but also helping people to connect. Yesterday, we had the chance to connect with a few of you. I hope to connect with more of you. So again, a big round of applause for Jazz for putting our hand on that. So like I said, my name is Ezekiel. You can call me Easy if it's easier for you. That's my opening line all the time. I actually work in politics. I'm the regional advisor for the Ministry of National Defense. Now you're going to be like, how does that connect to mental health? My own connection to mental health started when I was in college. I mean, in Quebec, we have something that you call cégep. Probably don't have that here, but I was in cégep, which is kind of similar to the 11th and 12th year in Ontario or the rest of Canada. I know we have different people from around the world, but our school system in Canada is really complicated. So, me and my friend experienced mental health so differently. We didn't have access. When you come from immigrant communities, you don't always feel like you can go and search or get the help that you actually need. And this is what gave me the drive to start to talk about mental health. I wanted people to be able to relate to somebody that looked like them. And I went to also Copenhagen in 2022, so if some of you were in Copenhagen, hi again. I was a delegate at that time, and I really enjoyed my time there because I've learned from so much of you, from the people that we're presenting, from researchers, and I hope that we'll be able to bring that to you today. And I know that mental health goes a long way in most of our fears. in national defense, when we're talking about mental health, I'm talking about veterans, I'm talking about families, we're talking about youth. And I feel like when we talk about mental health, the youth are always the one that drives the ideas and the change. That's why they brought a lot of us in those departments to talk about mental health and the challenges of mental health. And it's so interesting to see, because we had conversation with people yesterday, and we saw how mental health touches so many spheres and how we can incorporate that everywhere that we go. So I really hope that you're going to be able to connect with each other. So many people here have different stories, different life experience, and they have so much to share. Je veux aussi dire, les gens qui sont francophones, soyez pas gênés. Si vous voulez parler à des gens en français, moi je suis là, il y a d'autres francophones, on peut essayer de trouver une façon de se rencontrer pour pouvoir parler. Je pense que c'est vraiment important de pouvoir parler de la santé mentale autant en anglais qu'en français, surtout dans un pays qui est bilingue. Je veux que ça puisse être ouvert à tout le monde pour qu'on passe de 40 pays à peut-être 60, 80 ou 100 pays et que tout le monde puisse être représenté dans les années à venir. Donc, again, once again, and if you want to learn French and you want to learn a little bit of bonjour, ça va, you can come talk to me. We'll figure that out. Welcome to Vancouver again. If you need any restaurant recommendation, a few of us can give you restaurant recommendation.